स्वामिन्नमस्ते नतलोकबन्धो कारुण्यसिन्धो पतितं भवाब्धौ मामुद्धरात्मीयकटाक्षदृष्ट्या ऋज्व्यातिकारुण्य सुधाभिवृष्ट्या स्वामिन्नमस्ते 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 ज्ञानस्वरूपं निजभावयुक्तं आनन्दमानन्दकरं प्रसन्नं योगीन्द्रमीड्यं भवरोगवैद्यं श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि नित्याय सत्याय चिदात्मकाय नव्याय भव्याय परात्पराय शुद्धाय बुद्धाय निरञ्जनाय नमोऽस्तु नित्यं गुरुशेखराय नमोऽस्तु नित्यं गुरुशेखराय नमोऽस्तु नित्यं गुरुशेखराय। जय गुरु, जय गुरु, जय गुरु. So we are together again, and I am reading out from the books Prabhati Rashmi. As you know, Prabhati Rashmi are small lectures by Pujya Swamiji in the mornings after we perform the Pushpa Samarpanam at his holy feet. Pujya Swamiji in his Prabhati Rashmi gives us very direct instruction and guidance regarding our sadhana. Always the Prabhati Rashmi ambience is very, very divine, silent, very pure, and very serene it is. We all sit at the feet of the Guru, and our Guru Swamiji also closes his eyes and he talks whatever comes to his mind, keeping his eyes closed, as if the words are coming from deep within him. It is for us to listen to those words and ruminate on them, assimilate them, and be guided by the words and bring into practice. There are many Prabhat Rashmi lectures, out of which we have been able to publish a few. At present, there are only 3 volumes. I think if you can publish all, it will go into volumes. And each Prabhat Rashmi is a treasure. I have been sharing with you these Prabhat Rashmi episodes, quite a few. And I feel that after having talked about Vedanta and also talking on Srimad Bhagavatam, I feel now that it will be good to read together the books written by Pujya Swamiji, how he has explained them, how he has tried to bring them in a very live situation, how we can use them in our day-to-day life and practice. So that is why I started with Prabhatarashmi, because these books are very, very dear to me. Whenever I read, I feel that how beautifully, how clearly Swamiji has explained each and every point. And it becomes very easy to understand. So today, I've been taking some Prabhatarashmis from the first volume. Today I took the second volume. I have not yet finished the first volume, but I thought that I'll take this particular one from the second volume. This is the 20th article in the second volume of Prabhatarashmi. And the heading given is, every activity is worship of the Lord. Every activity is worship of the Lord. I think this is a very, very useful topic, and all of us, we are active ever since we get up in the morning. We are active till we go to sleep. Something or other we are doing. Either our mind is active, our intelligence is active, or our hands and feet are active. The whole body is active at times. So, how do we make these activities a feeling which is divine into a feeling which is divine? As when we worship, say with actual flowers, actual garland, fruits, lamp, incense sticks, and mantras, how we feel. Can we make our activities also like that? Can we have the similar feeling while we are active? The actions can be anything, trivial, non-important, as well as important. Some activities which we like and some activities which we do not like. How can everything become divine and we get a feeling of having done a worship? So Swamiji is saying to us, he has chosen this topic, and whenever he talks in Prabhatarashmi, especially in the earlier years, he would take up some topic or other which was current in the ashram, which we needed to know, which he needed to discuss to purify the seekers, the brahmacharis, the brahmacharinis, etc., and those who have come to him as devotees and seekers. Whatever we needed to purify in ourselves. So he would take up some topic which he felt was necessary at that time. I think the volume can be a little more. This Prabhatarashmi Swamiji spoke in 2001, 25 years back, 23rd July. He says, Harihi Om Tat Sat, Jai Guru. Yesterday, along with some devotees, I had been to Deshamangalam and Painkulam temples in Thrissur to conduct Dana Satra. Purushottam Swamiji was also traveling with me. I was talking about Dana Satra. Normally, I am not inclined to take up this kind of a social service on my own. But when Purushottam Swamiji and others decided for it, I welcomed the idea wholeheartedly. I always feel that whatever is taken up should be conducted well. It should be thought about, planned, executed, and also presented appropriately with proper decor befitting the occasion. I even say the action as well as its presentation should be enlightening. We can confidently say that with respect to Danasatra, we have reached further than what we initially aimed at. My dear children, while reading these Prabhat Rashmis, I have been always telling what I feel. When we read something, we should not be in a hurry to read and finish it. We should go through the lines, the words, very slowly, understanding what the saint is trying to tell us. Look at these words. Swamiji is saying that he would not have taken this kind of social service on his own. But when Purushottam Swamiji and others decided to take it up, and what for these Swamijis are taking it up? For the benefit of the society. So Swamiji did not hesitate to give up his own idea of not getting into social service, but he also started helping them and welcomed the whole idea and did it wholeheartedly. This is what we must learn. Our ideas may be different, but when we are in a group and we find that some in the group, they are wanting to do something which is good for the society, even if we are not geared for it, we must join them, and that joining should be done wholeheartedly. There should not be any kind of criticism in the mind. If we have to join a group and work together, maybe my viewpoint or my opinion is little different. This wholeheartedness should be completely given, and that is how we become flexible. Any seeker, any devotee should not be rigid in opinion. One must have flexibility of opinions. Also, look at this. What do we learn from this? What is Swamiji saying? I always feel that whatever is taken up should be conducted well. Whatever we take up, it may be a simple work in the house or anywhere, even if it is in the office, if we go marketing in that, if we are helping somebody in something, even in that, whatever we take up should be conducted well, not half-heartedly. It should be done very well. It should be thought about, planned, executed, and also presented appropriately with proper decor befitting the occasion. So we should give our whole heart to it. If we have joined in some kind of activity, we should do it well, excellently. That is what Krishna is also saying. He is saying this word, he has said, Tasmad asaktas satatam karyam karma samachara, mukta sangas samachara, sama achara. You must do it perfectly, excellently. Well, you must do it well, but without any sangha, without any kind of possessiveness. So we should not be possessive about our opinions. We should be very harmonious with the people with whom we are working. And even if we are only working ourselves, maybe alone, still we should see that everything is planned well, executed well, presented well, done well, so that the whole thing is something which will be helpful. And Swamiji is saying not only that, he said that the whole presentation should be enlightening. It should be enlightening. That is, when we are doing something, say we have taken up any activity, the whole process, maybe there will be some differences of opinion. We ultimately discuss and decide to do something in some manner, in a particular manner. We may have some obstacles, some hindrances, we solve it. So whole thing gives us a feeling of enlightenment. That is, one is of learning, one is of being flexible, one is of being harmonious with others, one is accepting others' views, and another is that we find it very enriching and enlightening, thinking that whatever best we could do, we have been able to do, and we have been able to make everybody feel very happy. Very recently, with Swamiji, we all went to Dakshin Khanda, Swamiji's Gurudev's abode, Purnashram. Many of you know that Purnashram was inaugurated, it was reconstructed and inaugurated. Pujya Swamiji dedicated it last year on Shivaratri day, which is his Gurudev Baba's birthday. Last year, 26 February 2025. And we had some programs during that time. We decided that Baba's birthday will be celebrated this year also in Purnashram. Although Swamiji's body is 93 years, his body is okay, but still the journey is quite tedious. Still, we decided to have program. 3-day programs we decided. Swamiji said, in Purnashram, all the people, the villagers being Bengali, Swamiji speaks in Bengali. Nutan Swamiji and I also speak in Bengali. But Swamiji's devotees were coming from all over the world. Swamiji wanted to have an English program day. There was one Dana Satra the next day. And on Shivaratri day, the 3rd day, that is 15th February this year, Baba's birthday celebration was there. After that, many of the devotees left, and Swamiji and many of us, we stayed back. During that period, Swamiji wished to feed the children, especially the poor children around, and the children who were just neighboring children. About 500 small children were fed with puri and potato sabji and sweet. The space there is less. And by that time, volunteers also had gone back, so we had less volunteers, our own people. But so much of discussions we had, how to feed, where to feed, how to spread the news that, oh children, come to Purnashram and have a very good sumptuous meal. Who will do that? Going from area to area, calling the children. So we were involving the villagers, involving women and men, older children who could be volunteers. And the very process of making the children take food, how they will come in, how they will go out, how the crowd can be avoided, where they should sit. They should not sit in the sun, and when they eat, it should be very convenient for them. The serving should be convenient, but the space was less. So in all discussions, there was a lot of challenges, but I think the whole thing became very, very enlightening, very enriching. To be able to constantly think that we are doing it for the sake of the children who would like to take this food, who are happy to come, will be happy to have taken this meal, and to be seeing their happy faces, to see that everybody in the neighborhood had some chance to participate in this whole yajna of feeding children. Small children. You know, there was a small children who came. The small child, it was a girl, I think, the chin alone was at the level of the table. So, but she was standing and eating. It was such a good sight. Some of the volunteers fed them with their own hands. Such divine sights were there. So, Because this happened very recently, this came to my mind. But this is what we should always aim at. Whatever we do, it should not be a pressure in us, but it should make our mind more expanded, more spread out into everybody, and it should be enlightening and enriching. Swamiji then says, I even say the action as well as its presentation, we can confidently say that with respect to Danasatra, we have reached farther than what we initially aimed at. So Swamiji is saying when Swamiji, Purushottam Swamiji and all started the Danasatra and Swamiji joined in, whatever they aimed at, after a few years when Swamiji is talking in 2001, I think the Danasatra first started in 1986. So 2001, after so many years, Swamiji is saying that whatever they aimed at, they have reached further limits. And that is, it must have been very enlightening. I was mentioning to some that personally I am not inclined to this kind of a social service activity. I am more inclined to take up educational activity. There are children being taught in our ashram. We spend quite some time with them. Any event where education is called for, I am interested. What type of education? It should not be academic education, but cultural, spiritual, and philosophical. So Swamiji is referring to the cultural heritage class that we have in our ashram on every Sunday. There, the subjects are not taught, the academic subjects are not taught, but the children of the nearby, in the village, children come here and they are taught cultural lessons and philosophical and spiritual lessons. One of the devotees raised a question. For a seeker of truth, is this quality of social service like Danasatra necessary or helpful? Will it not be far away from the seeker's exclusive sadhana? And will not spiritual pursuit, while one is engaged in these other mundane works, lose its priority? So this is a very common question. When such social service activities are there, that is, we start doing some things, we take up activities for the society. So there will be lot of people coming, going, lot of discussions on things. Say, I'm taking example of this feeding which took place in Purnashram or anywhere. So we have to think what will be the menu, how much grocery has to be bought, what all things have to be arranged for, so many things. All this, a seeker, a devotee who is given only to meditational sadhana or sadhana of swadhyaya studies alone, they may feel that it is a distraction. They may feel that, oh, these are all mundane items that is being discussed about grocery, about food, about inviting people, about bringing people, looking after them. All these are generally done in the households. And in doing so, the one-pointedness with which a seeker is supposed to think of the self, that is destroyed. Generally, many seekers feel that social service or doing something for the society will not help them in sadhana. Swamiji is giving a reply to this. My answer to this question is that this kind of a social service comes up, really speaking, only from a person who has spiritual enlightenment. Only when the spiritual enlightenment is there, this kind of social service also one is able to do, one feels like doing, and one becomes fond of doing. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. Spiritual life is for one's own liberation and at the same time for the loka kalyana, welfare of the world. So spiritual enlightenment is not only for one's own liberation. That becomes a selfish act. It is initially one pursues the spiritual path for one's own liberation. But as one goes forward, as the mind expands and expands, apart from one's own liberation, the seeker starts thinking of the self which is everywhere in everybody. He cannot be satisfied only by his own salvation. He sees oneself into everybody and everybody into oneself. So the second part becomes Jagat Hitaya Cha. Atmano Mokshartham, for one's own salvation, liberation, and then Jagat Hitaya, for the welfare of the whole world. He will be satisfied only then. So then he starts doing things for others. Spiritual life is for one's own liberation and at the same time for the loka kalyana, welfare of the world. When a knower takes it up, it will have a different dimension. So, the social service or the loka kalyana service, jana kalyana service done by spiritual person, a realized person, will be different from ordinary social service. He will do it only because he loves people. Shanta mahanto nivasanti santo vasantavalloka hitam charantaha. In Viveka Chudamani, this is how a realized person has been described. He is Shanta, he is peaceful and tranquil. Mahanta, he is noble and great. Nivasanti santo. This kind of saints, they are Vasantavan loka hitam charantaha. He is like a spring breeze. The realized masters, they are like spring breeze. Because spring breeze, it blows after the winter. The winter is very, very difficult for everybody. Everybody looks forward to spring. And when the spring comes, the spring breeze comes, new life is there in the whole world. So, these realized saints, they are also like the spring breeze. He moves about in this whole world, vasantavat, like the spring. Lokahitam charantaha. And what does he do? He does lokahita, jagat hita. He does welfare for everybody. So, when a knower takes it up, it will have a different dimension. He does it only because he has no motive. Tirna swayam bhima bhavarnavam janan ahetuna jnanapi charayantaha. He moves about in this whole world, this realized saint, doing good to people because he cannot but do it. He loves people. He understands people's sorrow, misery, people's shoka. He understands the anxieties of people, the fears of people. So, he has himself crossed everything and has become what? Shantaha. All agitations, all afflictions, all disturbances in his mind has become completely quietened. So he knows the way how to quieten the mind and become peaceful, absolutely. So when he looks at people in this whole world, he moves about, He meets people, he knows their miseries and afflictions. He gives them instructions, some words, some looks, some way, so that they become free. Free from what? Fear, anxiety, and affliction. Ahetuna anyana pitarayantaha. See, all these are written in our Shastras. Why is he doing it? Ahetuna, without any motive. He doesn't want anything in return. This is why Swamiji is writing, when a knower takes it up, takes what up? Takes up this social activity, it will have a different dimension. Because a knower, a spiritual saint, he does not want anything in return. He does everything for the society, only for the society's good. He doesn't want anything. He is not doing it with any kind of pride or ego. He does it only selflessly, loving people. It could even be a kind of a projection of himself, but so far as the seekers are concerned, a social service activity by itself may not be helpful unless it is coupled with yogic attitude. Now, Swamiji comes to this. He says that when we are doing something for the society, unless we have a yogic attitude, as a seeker, you will not be enlightened. Unless we have a yogic attitude while doing some work for the society, not only for your own family. As long as we are only thinking about our family, that is a very narrow outlook. But when we start thinking about the others, that will give us enlightenment in spite of any kind of hindrance and challenges. It will only expand our mind and become enlightening only when we have a yogic attitude along with this. So what is this yogic attitude? Now Swamiji is coming to that. That is, if we have taken up some work which is apart from our familial work, apart from only doing something for our family, we are doing for a greater benefit. It should be with this yogic attitude. I was telling that in the case of seekers, they may take to this as a guru seva. How will this enlightenment come? Very simply, if we think, my guru wants me to do this, so this is my guru seva. I am just doing because for the sake of my guru. For example, we are conducting this Dana Satra. In the ashram earlier we used to have Dana Satra. The Swamijis it is still there, Hind Navothan Pratishthan, which is having some sannyasins. And we started the Dana Satra in 1986, I think. So, poor families were given. I think it started with 150 families. Per family, one cloth, 3 kilos of rice and a sweet was given. And it went on every year till COVID came in. That is up to 2019 we have been giving. And every year we were increasing the number of families who were benefited. It was, I think we came to 37,000 families or so by the time we stopped, and covered Kerala, Delhi NCR, Jamshedpur, West Bengal, etc. So we were doing Dana Satra. It was a great joy. Our devotees, they would come here during the Guru Purnima in the ashram. From ashram, on one day we used to give to 6,000 poor families. So the devotees, they would be packing the rice, stacking them, and getting associated with this whole process of giving. It was a great enlightenment as well as joy and a fulfillment to see the people come and receive these gifts. We are conducting this Danasatra. Many of you are involved in it. You should not look at it as a social service plan alone. You are here with your Guru. The Guru takes up an activity and he performs it. You are trying to serve him in whatever he does. When you approach it like this, let it be social service, let it be the conduct of Dhyana Yajna, let it be on education, let it be this or that. It is all covered by the Guru Seva attitude. This is very, very important. This Guru Seva attitude should be there. It's not that I did it well and I enjoyed. I was feeling so fulfilled. Oh, it was such a nice whole program. The whole thing should be smeared with the feeling that I am doing Guru Seva. Whichever manner my Guru wants me to do, I will do. The whole thing, I'm reading this. What is this? Again, I remind you, these are talks by Swamiji. Addressed to whom? Addressed to some of the devotees who are sitting at his feet in front of him. And he is taking up some situation which has struck him, and he feels that these should be told to this group now. Maybe this 2001, it is July, so that already Guru Purnima must have been over. Some devotees are sitting in front of him. The Guru Purnima and retreat were over. The Danasatra also must have been over. Now Swamiji is guiding the seekers and devotees who are sitting in front of him closely. What kind of attitude should be there when we do this Danasatra or any other activity in the proximity of the Guru in the ashram? Now this is in the ashram. Those who do not have the opportunity to come to the ashram or be near him, what should they think? They should think in their own life, whatever comes in front is given as the Guru, given by the Guru for their growth. So here, Swamiji, I will repeat this. It is thousands of times we should read. We are so fortunate that we are coming across these words which remind us again and again. We are human beings, we forget. We feel, I have done this work, I have done it very well. Some people have appreciated me. We have to replace these thoughts by only one thought. I am doing the work to please my Guru. Has he become pleased? Has he appreciated? Has he felt that what I have done is all right? Or does he feel that I should do it better? We should remind ourselves again and again. You are here with your Guru. The Guru takes up an activity and he performs it. You are trying to serve him in whatever he does. When you approach it like this, let it be social service, let it be the conduct of Dhyana Yajna, let it be on education, let it be this or that. It is all covered by the Guru Seva attitude. The item of work may be anything. It makes little difference. For you, it is a Guru Seva. The item of work may be anything. It makes little difference. For you, it is a Guru Seva. So, I am remembering I am blessed to be at the feet of my Guru for 37 years now. And I'm just remembering one simple thing, which when we came here, Swamiji told. You know, that time the ashram was very small. Now the ashram is not that big like many other ashrams, but big enough. We didn't have furnitures. Only 1 or 2 chairs we had, 1 or 2 tables. I remember one day we used to sit below in the veranda, and Swamiji would take satsang. So one day when we got up, in the beginning itself, when Swamiji got up, he was sitting on the chair and we were sitting below. He got up and he pulled the chair from the wall and made a gap between the chair back and the wall. It had gone and it was hitting the wall. He had said, see, always be careful that no furniture goes and touches the wall. Then, if you are not careful, the furniture edges will give a mark on the wall. So be careful. Always pull it away from the wall. I think even now, when he finds that furnitures are kept like that, he is pleased. And that become a habit with me. So the item of work may be anything. It may be very, very trivial, and it may be very big. But if we feel that we should do what my Guru has told me and what he wants me to do, that gives a great enlightenment. Not only that, we grow in humility, we grow in expansion, we grow in acceptance and in flexibility. For you, it is a Guru Seva. You can help and promote the cause of the body by giving food, shelter, and clothes. You can help and promote the cause of the mind by befriending the aggrieved and elevating them to gain peace and contentment. You can help and promote the cause of the intelligence by imparting higher wisdom, culture, and character. So the body, mind, and intelligence, how they can be elevated, Swamiji has told. The body cannot be separated from the mind. The intelligence of the mind too cannot be separated from the body. So, any aspect of service aimed at the body, mind, or intelligence is equally welcome. So, any aspect of service aimed at the body, the service can be for the body, for the mind, for the intelligence. Equally important. That is not that when we are trying to serve the body, say we are looking after the food for the Guru, or maybe looking after his health, going with him wherever he goes, putting an umbrella over his head. Or how we do it, and also for the mind and intelligence, it should be the similar one. In our mind and intelligence also, we should have the same feeling. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayah mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. So, I want to say something else. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayah. This is Bhagavad Gita 18.56. Mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. This is one of the greatest secrets Sri Krishna discloses at the end of Bhagavad Gita. sarva karmanyapi. Let all the karmas, sarva karmani api, all karmas. Let all the karmas, all the activities you perform, sada. Sarva karmanyapi sada. What does sada mean? Sada means always. Sarva karmanyapi sada madvyapashrayaha. That is, do all work. Swamiji told about the Guru Seva, that everything in the ashram near the Guru, you think that you are doing Guru Seva. He was particularly talking about taking the example of Dhanasatra. Now he says every activity, wherever you are, all your activities, not only that you have to do it in the ashram, wherever you are, how do you look at that? One is that it is very easy. He said that, I was saying that in the case of seekers, they may take to this as a Guru Seva. That is, Atmano Mokshartham Jagad Hitaya. It came from there. That Atmano Mokshartham, and when we start doing for others, it is for Jagat Hitaya. Why do we took it up? It is very easy when we are near the Guru. We consider that Guru is doing like this, so I am also helping him. It is my Guru Seva. How he wants me to do, I am doing. Now Swamiji is telling to a higher level, wherever you are, consider that your Guru is everywhere. And he refers to this sloka, sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayaha. That is, all the work, whatever you are doing, wherever you are, whichever time you are doing it, depend only on me, your Guru. Depend only on me. See, who has told this? Krishna has told this to Arjuna. And in what way Krishna is saying? Arjuna said that I am your Shishya. Please tell me what I should do. Doubtlessly I should follow you. Please tell me. So Krishna takes the role of the Guru for Arjuna. And who is a Guru? The Guru is one with the knowledge, knower. Guru becomes the Atma. Guru becomes the knowledge. Guru becomes the knower. So Krishna is saying, Madhyapashraya means not that I, Krishna, who is now in front of you, not that. The self that I am, the Brahman that I am, that Krishna, take refuge to that. So, let all the karmas, all the activities you perform, sada, always, madhyapashrayaha. Take refuge in me alone, depend upon me, as propelled by me, and also as meant for my pleasure. As propelled by me, that is, here many of you know this sloka, where the devotee is calling out to God and calling out by many names and saying that pratas samuthaya tava priyartham. He says that, O Lord, I get up in the morning propelled by you. It is true, when we go to sleep, we lie on the bed, our head falls on the pillow, but we cannot control when our eyes will close and we'll sleep. Similarly, when we get up, we are not sure at what time our eyes will open into this morning. It is not under our control. It is controlled and propelled by some power, which we call God, Sarva Shaktiman. He is the all-potent, omnipotent, omnipresent, omnipotent. So, he is the one who is controlling everything. So this sloka says that all activities, you depend on me every time. always. And also remember that I am propelling all the activities. It is I who propel all the activities. Just like, it is a very simple thing. This example that I said, which a devotee has written into a shloka, that I am getting up in the morning propelled by you, not by myself. So I understand, if I have intelligence, I understand. Now the whole day is there, samsara yatra is there. Now who is propelling that? The same power is propelling. Sometimes he makes us lazy, sometimes he makes us very active, sometimes very slow, sometimes very fast. He propels and makes us do. He has created this body, these limbs, these senses, the mind, the buddhi, the ego. Nothing is in our control. We cannot create any of these ourselves. And who is giving that strength and the ability and the capability of all these? It is one power, not me. Not me. Not my parents, not my grandparents. Nobody can give. It's coming from somewhere. So that one is the propeller. He is the designer of this whole universe. So says that, Madvyapashrayaha, knowing me like this, depend on me always for all your activities. And do it for my pleasure. So first it was the pleasure, because if we are near the Guru, it's very easy to think, I'm pleasing my Guru will be pleased. Then we should grow into, suppose the Guru is not there, suppose you are away from the Guru, how will you still be motivated? The motivation should come because the Guru is that. He is one with the Atma, one with the Brahman. And for his pleasure I am doing. Wherever I am, I may be in the house, I may be in the office, I may be in the school or college or in the market, anywhere, any activity. I'll be doing for the pleasure of that propeller who is propelling me. Wholeheartedly. When we take up any activity, keeping this thought in the mind, then what happens? There is enlightenment of the mind. Enlightenment. So he says, all the karmas you go on performing with this attitude. All the karmas you go on performing with this attitude. When this is the spiritual mantra, the spiritual message, where is the question of not doing social service? What is it, after all, that you are doing? You were reciting Nama Sankirtana. It was only an oral act. Maybe you kept tune with the hands too. He's talking about the Dhanasatra. During Dhanasatra, we were passing the items to be given to the poor families, one by one, giving out the prasada, making them stand in the line. When they get their gift, we help them to put in the bags. The hands were working, and the Nama Sankirtana was going on. This is how we do the Dhanasatra is performed. We are constantly, as long as the Dana goes on, so sometimes for 3 to 4 hours, constantly Nama Sankirtana goes on. Are we to forget that? It's not that we are working. We are being propelled by somebody, given the opportunity to do this. We will not forget who is propelling us. If we remember him and then do the work, then it becomes true service. Otherwise not. Otherwise it becomes fulfillment of one's own ego or feeling that I have done it. All these are activities, but the activities alone make no difference. On the other hand, all activities are included when you say sarva karmanyapi, and when you include all activities and make all of them madvyapashrayaha, then by virtue of the blessing of God, mat prasadat, you, the pursuer, the seeker, will get shashvatam padam avyayam, the eternal abode. All these are activities. So we do activities, particularly Swamiji is talking about the Danasatra, but the activities alone make no difference. Whether we are doing a Danasatra involving so many people or we are doing something by ourselves, no difference. On the other hand, all activities are included when you say sarva karmanyapi. Every kind of activity, small, big, important, non-important, likable, non-likable, favorable, non-favorable, anything. Everything we include in sarva karmanyapi, sarva karmani, all activities. And you do with madhyapashrayaha, for everything, chota, mota, bada, whatever it is, you depend on him. Don't forget him. That you are doing because of him. That one power, whom we call God, we may call Brahman, we may call Self, we may call Chaitanya, whatever it is, the presence. Then by virtue of the blessing of God, mat prasadat, this shloka says, mat prasadat, there is kripa. When we never forget him, we constantly feel grateful that, oh God, oh Lord, it is because of you that I am able to do. Because you have given me ability, strength in my limbs, strength in my mind. Intelligence is sharp. I am able to do. We don't forget. And we constantly feel blessed and grateful to that presence. Then what happens? His kripa gets showered. Mat prasadat, his kripa, his grace falls on the seeker. And by virtue of the blessing of God, mat prasadat, you, the pursuer, the seeker, will get shashvatam padam avyayam. Shashvata pada. Shashvata avyaya pada. What is shashvata? What is always it remains, imperishable. Avyaya, that is also changeless. So, imperishable, changeless abode you will reach. What is the changeless and imperishable abode? We are in an abode, no doubt, and it changes. Our mind is sometimes happy, sometimes not happy, sometimes full of fear, sometimes it is okay. So always we are changing. We are anxious, we are fearful, we are constantly thinking what will happen in the future. This Shashvata Avyaya Pada is not like that. The life will go on, but you will know how to float in the midst of it. You will not drown. You will not fear. You will not become anxious. Challenges will be there, situations will come, which is full of anxiety maybe, but you will know by His grace how to remain afloat in the midst of all that. That is what His grace will make you. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayah mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. So, maybe your question is prompted by this particular social activity, but understand that what Krishna says encompasses the whole gamut of activities. Yesterday, your Swamiji says, I went out to do some work. You also accompanied me, helped me, and facilitated me. Consider it only as that. Why are you looking into the objective aspect of it? Did you understand the difference? Once you adopt this attitude, all the activities become sublime. All of them will be spiritually elevating. I think here a little explanation is necessary. Many of you who are seeing Swamiji now at this age, 93, you don't know how active Swamiji was. This is 2001. So how many years back? 25 years back, Swamiji was not very young, but still young, much younger. And he was very, very active. During the Guru Purnima days, you will find Swamiji running about everywhere, getting every place cleaned. And it was only for the love for his devotees, that the devotees are coming from everywhere, all over India and abroad. People are coming. They should be seeing the place, ashram, neat and clean, and should be staying here in a very comfortable manner. So everywhere he will take round, and wherever he would during July, it rains too much in Kerala. So many places will be full of mosses, so he'll get all the workers. He will be himself pouring water with the hose until every place is, made clean. He will not come for food. He will not come for anything. So this was his nature, and everything he would take part in physically. So I think that in this para, he must be meaning that he went doing this kind of work. So some devotee must have felt that, oh, Swamiji, who is a very spiritual, realized person, why he is getting involved in all this work. So Swamiji is saying that, understand that what Krishna says encompasses the whole gamut of activities. And when Swamiji went to do some menial work maybe, this devotee also, some devotees went with him, helped him, facilitated him. But Swamiji is saying that they should not look into the objective aspect of it, that why did Swamiji do this work or that work. Once you adopt this attitude, all the activities become sublime. That is what kind of attitude? Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashraya. Whether you do an important work of cleaning and rubbing moss, or plucking grass, or sit at the computer and do something very, good and in the eyes of others, every work we must consider to be kurvano madvyapashraya. Madvyapashraya is the most important word, that it is because of him that we are able to do it. We should not forget that. So Swamiji says, once you adopt this attitude, all the activities become sublime. All of them will be spiritually elevating. So I can finish this, I'll take 5 more minutes. And then again, listen to this sloka also, Swamiji says, which is from Bhagavad Gita 18.6. Etanyapi tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani iti me partha nishchitam matamuttamam. Yajna, dana and tapas are considered to be very holy. Is not your sadhana nothing other than that? Your sadhana is yajna, dana and tapas. These are all very holy activities. Even these holy activities are to be performed without sangha, without any possessiveness. Any seeker, anything that we do in our life will come in the category of yajna, dana and tapas. Even these holy activities are to be performed without any sangha or possessiveness. They will not make any meaning or purpose otherwise. If there is sangha, possessiveness, what kind of possessiveness? I want to do this particular thing. Or if I have done it very well. Nobody better than me. I must get appreciated. Nobody looked into it and appreciated. Why others' work were appreciated and not mine? Why mine was commented upon? All these are possessiveness and sangha. They will not make any meaning or purpose otherwise. That is the formula to be adopted. At no time you should be attached to the results and do the work perfectly, very well. Whatever outcome will come, we should not be fearing and be anxious about the result. Result will come, whatever it is. Even the most holy activity, including your own meditation, if pursued with sangha, you spoil the game. Even in meditation, that is why most people who do meditation, they do not go deep, because constantly there is a feeling, am I doing it well? Am I doing it well? Have I reached? Is it okay? Is it okay? Simply sit. Give yourself to your Atma. Then don't think what is happening. This is how we should do it. So Swamiji said, even meditation, if your own meditation, if pursued with sangha, you spoil the game. On the other hand, all the activities, if you perform as an offering, as a dedication, as being propelled by, as depending upon the Supreme Reality, then they themselves will take you to the Supreme Abode. Very, very important. On the other hand, all the activities, if you perform as an offering, as a dedication, as being propelled by, as depending upon the Supreme Reality, then they themselves will take you to the Supreme Abode. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayaha. This madvyapashrayaha has to be constantly remembered, that you are propelling, that is why I am able to do. Otherwise, what is my power? I am nothing. It is because of you. And when that naturalness is there, then what happens? Mat prasadat avapnoti. His grace is showered. Actually, His grace is always there. We only do not receive it. We do not open our doors to receive it. His grace is there. Mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam avyayam. When we open our doors, we want nothing. Oh my Lord, it is because of you that I can do activities. Let me do the work well, and let me remember that it is because of you I am doing well also, whatever I am doing. And then I offer myself. Nothing I want. This kind of feeling, when it is there, then automatically Avyayam Shashvatam Padam, that is, the mind will know how to remain afloat in every situation. Every situation. One feels He is always there, that divinity surrounds always. One will never falls from that. Tattvat aprachyuto bhavet. The tattva surrounds you always. You never fall from that tattva. Okay. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Sampurnam jagadevanandanavanam sarvepi kalpadrumaah Gangam vari samasta vari nibaha punya samasta kriyaha vacha prakrita samskrita shruti shiro varanasi medini sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya दृष्टे परब्रह्मणि सर्वावस्थितिरस्य वस्तु विषया दृष्टे परब्रह्मणि। जय गुरु, जय गुरु, जय गुरु।